you played college, Penn State,
Mm-hmm.
and then went on to multiple teams in the PLL or the MLL.
Yeah,
and then you
I mean,
played
mostly,
PLL.
yeah, I played for 3 teams in the MLL, but mostly the Lizards
Okay.
from New York. I played pro for 14 years, and then I played for Team USA for 10. And, yeah, it was awesome.
And what kind of got you into lacrosse, I guess, as a kid, or like what like got that started, and when did you realize it was something you wanted to kind of like shape your life around?
So I'm from Springfield, Delaware County, in PA,
Mhm.
and lacrosse is tops there. It's like lacrosse and wrestling is huge in that area.
Okay.
And when I was growing up, everyone knew the lacrosse team was the cool kids, but I never played until I got to high school. So once I got to high school, I begged my parents. I'm like, look, like, please let me play this sport because all the cool kids are playing varsity. It was literally because I wanted to be cool. It didn't work. So I played, but I never played a team sport where you could hit. Like I did wrestling and karate growing up, but I never played football or anything. So I sucked at catching and throwing, and all I did was run around the field and try to hit people. Whenever the ball's on the ground, I tried to ear hole everybody. And the older guys would make fun of me, so they'd be yelling like during the JV games, we'd go beast from like the sideline and shit. And it was all a joke because I weighed like, I don't know, like 150 pounds soaking wet. I graduated high school at 170. Like I wasn't a big kid, so I got that nickname like as a joke. And then my best friend George, who got me into lacrosse, started calling me Greg Beast, and that's where that name came from.
Okay.
So like when people meet me and they're like, "Oh, this guy calls himself Beast," it's like, no, I didn't like wake up my sophomore year of college and be like,
It manifested itself.
I weigh 200 pounds now, so it's Beast.
It's so funny. That's kind of like the nickname Beast and how they came with, like, I see like on the shirt and like be a beast. That mindset was a lot of people would just call me like it's how I would play. I was smaller, and that was one of the turn off for some of the recruiting.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, well, I can't control like how tall I can get, but I can control how strong I get, how fast, how explosive. And ever since like a kid, they were just like calling me like a beast, or just like, he's like, be careful, he's gonna go crazy out there.
Well, you know what's funny when you say that? It's like that's why I fell in love with strength conditioning, because growing up, like my parents were awesome, but they were super like conservative and controlling. They were afraid to let me do anything.
Yep.
And growing up, I realized, you know, your parents, your older siblings maybe, your aunts, your uncles, your teachers, your coaches, everybody's telling you what to do. They all have control over you. You have complete control over your body, what you do with it.
Yep.
So if you want to be shredded, you can be shredded. Want to be jacked, you can be jacked. Like you can want to be like a crazy long distance runner, you can literally just start running long distance one day and become a long distance runner. And that understanding when I was a freshman in high school is what really made me fall in love with it. So that's where the strength training really began, this obsession of like, I can do whatever I want with this thing.
Yeah.
And no one, that was like my freedom. Being in the gym was like my zen, because I could do whatever I wanted with my body.
Like
So that's where it came from.
That
Isn't
iron
that
therapy,
That's
yeah.
funny. That's exactly how my upbringing was. I never touched weight until after high school. It was never rooted in sport for me. But like, even like eating protein powder, like mom thought that was drugs.
Yeah,
And
well, everything is steroids.
I had to have
Steroids.
I had to have such a long conversation, like bring out the science and everything about it. Be like, why isn't this like this in your food, mom?
Yeah,
Like,
dude, everything is steroids. And even like, if you look at it now, like on Instagram, it's like, that guy gained 5 pounds in 2 years. Trend.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, dude, this is creatine. It's 5 grams a day, and it's what every single athlete or human being at this point should be taking.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was the same way, dude. Getting supplements. My first job when I was in college, I used to stay up at Penn State year round, and I would work during the summer to make extra money. And I was working at a GNC in the mall.
Yeah, we're the same.
So GNC, I was a vitamin shop guy.
Yeah, and I would sit there all lonely as shit in the knitting mall on Sundays, and everyone, you know, you see that guy in GNC, everyone walks past, and I'm like, I don't really need protein today.
Yeah.
It's only the guys who are absolute neats that have to pick it up that day for the week that would come in, and I would, every 2 weeks, I'd take my check, and then I would just redeposit in
It's
GNC.
right in the GNC,
Yes!
man. Test everything out.
And like,
yeah.
I was like, NO2!
Yeah.
I've been reading articles on this for 3 months, I can't wait to buy it!
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, like, that was my whole thing. I got fired from that job because I sucked ass.
Really?
Oh, they're like, okay, behind the case here is a bunch of drinks, and these drinks are only for people that, that need to cleanse their body. If they mention that they have to pass a drug test,
Yeah, you
absolutely.
can't say it because
And
they'll secret shop you.
I was like, these are on commission, right? Okay. The guy comes in, he's like, I got to pass the drug test. All right, let me get the key.
Take two.
I screwed the register up all the time. I cost that poor store so much money.
I brought change in my pocket because I couldn't keep the register straight, so I was always off 25 cents
Yeah.
in there, and I'd be like, that's this. So
Yeah.
I had to talk to my manager about that again. Here's a quarter.
Dude, manager comes in one day. He's like, I don't know how to tell you this, but like, you know, he's like, we have a regional manager comes into the stores every once in a while just to see like how you guys are doing. We didn't even ask him for a gold card. Like, yeah, I did it.
Yeah.
He's
Not
like,
at all.
yeah, we have to fire you. I'm like, that's fine. I'll be in here.
Set me free.
I'll be in here in 5 days buying more protein.
Yeah.
Like, whatever.
I'll find another job.
Yeah.
It's like, I only got
Not
this
cut out
job
for sales.
for the discount. You know,
Yeah.
I'm only here to get the stuff that I want to have. That's it.
Exactly.
With those drug tests that are in there, they would send secret shoppers in,
Yeah.
and if they said, they would say drug test, and I had coworkers get fired because they got secret shops, and they were like, oh yeah, that's this stuff over here. And they'd be like, they come right back in the store after leaving with it and be like, sorry man, you gotta go.
Dude, if you don't like us doing that, pay us $10 more an hour and don't make this commission.
And don't tell us that that's what it's for, because they taught you that that's what it's for, like your first day.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
This is what it's for, but you cannot talk about what it's for.
Aren't
Anybody
we in
who
the
asks
business
for
to
it-
help people?
Yeah.
That's how I got into. I love that job. I saw it as a sales job, so I took everything so I could tell people I took it, and then I would write out the workout and diet programs so they keep coming back every month, and I'd get that commission
Nice.
paid every
You're
single
basically
month.
just like personal training. You were
Exactly.
online personal trainer.
That's how I got
Yeah.
started. Yep.
Brilliant.
That's how I got started. It was so funny. But yeah, no, GNC was a huge way that I got into it. But supplements are awesome.
Yeah.
And it was more of the taboo that made me probably love it more than anything else because my parents
Yeah.
had such a reaction to it. So I was like,
What?
yeah, I'm gonna take everything.
Yeah, it's like with my parents they're a little similar in the sense like, you know, like, oh dude, you gotta be careful with the supplements that you're thinking about taking.
Which they're not wrong. They're
Yeah,
not wrong,
exactly. So I didn't really take much when I was playing college other than like protein, BCAAs, creatine,
Yeah.
fish oil, and then different vitamins. It was after that I was like, all right, I'm super excited to dive into what all of these supplements are.
Yeah.
And I started to research all of the different ingredients.
Yeah.
And then from then, I ordered all individual powders. So
Started mixing them yourself.
yeah, everybody called like my garage. I had a whole little setup. It was like
Beakers
breaking
and
down.
shit. Nice.
You know? And it's I would have my 3 blender bottles. I would make pre, intra, post. I would have all of these different things, and I would try different formulas based on what I wanted to try to experience. If like, all right, I really want to focus on like how big I can get during this cycle. Like, let's focus on the nutrients around that. Obviously, the training and all that, and then like how fast, how explosive, and I would change all this stuff. And that's ultimately kind of what led me down starting my business originally around nutrition and supplements. And it was going to be more of an algorithm based on all of these different factors that I researched and created to create customized individual nutrient protocols. And I was working with a custom compounding pharmacy in Maryland, Bethesda.
Mm-hmm.
And we were going to try to roll this out to the public. This was maybe eight or so years ago.
10.
10, yeah.
That's when we met. My
Yeah.
first bodybuilding show.
And what I wanted to do at the time was just we're so far from being able to execute in a cost-efficient way.
Oh yeah.
And then it's like, all right, well, instead of like doing this, and I'll just start with a protein that I know I like based on all the stuff that I've made. I'll just make my own.
Mhm.
Start there, and that's really what got me into the supplement, the nutritional side of things on a much deeper level.
Yeah, I remember one of the first things you had to do at Penn State was you had to go see the sports nutritionist and break down what's legal and what's not.
Yeah.
And they give you this NCAA handbook, and you're just like, okay, I can have 20 grams of protein. That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
And that's where you learn, like, okay, yeah, creatine is, even then, like, creatine was pretty new. And that was back when, like, the OG creatines where you had to preload it for 4 days, and then you get a little puffy. Everyone was walking around with the gallons of water at a time.
The kidney thing was still out there.
Yeah. And, you know, you could take, like, they're allowed to give you 20 grams of protein after workout, but then they can't give you more because it's not recovery. Now it's technically a supplement. You're getting, and it's Big Ten, so you're getting piss tested every couple weeks. You know?
Yeah.
And at the time, they put me on 10,000 calories a day at Penn State. So I was gaining weight while everybody else, you know, back then in the early 2000s, lacrosse players weren't totally sold on strength training. So a lot of them were still trying to ditch out, you know, and pace through their workouts while I was one of the meats who was in there. and they'd be like, "Hey, random drug test," and it was like a running joke. It's like, "Random drug test, Greg."
Yeah.
It's like I'm the only one who's gaining 10 pounds a year here.
Yeah.
So the P-Man and I knew each other real well.
Yes. My sophomore, my junior and senior year, I got selected. My coach called me and jokingly, he's like, "All right, Stu, try to give us a clean one here."
Yeah.
Knowing like, all right, if there's anybody who's gonna get let's meet him. Is
That's
great.
the guy who actually wants to work out.
Yeah, exactly. Someone who's gonna be clean, so it's
Yeah.
perfect. And it was funny because that was the same kind of joke. I was like, "Oh, Stoop, I see you're in here too." I was like, "Yeah."
Yeah, it was really funny. Plus, like, you know, in high school, especially in college, I was so straight edge. Like, I was like, I'm the perfect candidate for
Yeah.
the test, so it's all good.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Big Ten took it real seriously. And on Team USA, they would literally it'd be like, "ATF, open up, boom, boom." You'd be on a training weekend out of nowhere, and they just come into your hotel room. You gotta pee like right away. The guy's like staring at you. You're like, "Dude, I was built for this."
Yeah.
It's all good.
Literally, pun intended, Dilfer.
Right.